It's really, really tough, I think, sometimes to build a trust if you're implementing something, if there isn't necessarily trust to begin with. An AI environment probably feeds that a little bit more because of what we mentioned.
Trust is not only is this tool going to work, but do I still matter? Like, where's my place? Do I trust the work I'm doing now is going to matter in the future?
Welcome to Under the Hood, a show where we explore how organizations really work and what drives them forward. My name's Eric, and for over 30 years, I've been an external business consultant focused on managing large-scale organizational change and improving companies' operational processes. And there's a lot of change going on from AI in those spaces. Or is there? I recently sat down with two colleagues to explore what, if anything, we're doing differently as we lead organizations through AI transformations. Kate Coelho is Director of AI Change and Transformation at Microsoft, and Arlyne Aranda is founder of AC Collaborative, a firm that builds some of the best change programs I've seen. Between the three of us, there's about 80 years experience. In this episode, we explore how trust shows up in AI transformations. We hope this is practical and thought-provoking.
So trust has always been a major factor in large transformations. Do you think trust shows up any differently in an AI transformation? And if so, why?
Ooh, I will take a swing at this one first. I think one of the things that I have always kind of kept in the back of my head that it's really, really tough, I think, sometimes to build a trust if you're implementing something, if there isn't necessarily trust to begin with, right? And so I think an AI environment probably feeds that a little bit more because of what we mentioned in terms of kind of things are still being determined and what have you. So as a practitioner, building any kind of messaging or goodwill while we're still trying to figure out, it's difficult to really kind of put, there's a whole chicken and egg situation there. And so when um when teams or stakeholders or users are skeptical to begin with, trust is really, really difficult, I think, to really kind of um to gauge, much less in an environment that is constantly changing, right? Every day.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It's like your base, what's your baseline? What are you starting at from a trust perspective, regardless of AI? And then, I think, Eric, to answer your question is for me, what really comes to mind is, okay, there's the trust in the AI, the agent, the LLM, but we're not just asking people to trust the technology. We're asking them to rethink where they add value, right? And so it becomes this identity question. And do I, trust is not only is this tool going to work, but do I still matter? Like, where's my place? Do I trust the work I'm doing now is going to matter in the future? And so it's this multi-dimensional layer of trust, which is really, really interesting.
Absolutely, Kate. I think the idea of identity is completely different than what you would see in a traditional change environment. So, given that, what have you seen work in terms of building trust for an AI-enabled environment?
Well, I think for me, in my experience, I've been doing a lot of micro adoption initiatives. So I'm not necessarily in a space where we're building product, but we're really helping teams and users really kind of one understanding the really kind of what AI means for their environment, and then tools that are being introduced into their workplace. And I think what I am realizing with regard to trust, um, it's not like past implementations or traditional implementations where if you're lagging behind a little bit in in say the layer of training, you ramp up your comms to kind of compensate for that. While you're really kind of coming up to speed so that everything is coming together. I find that in this particular environment, because there's such a dependency around really kind of everything happening at the same speed, being able to communicate, understand what needs to be learned, also really kind of understand any policies and policies or infrastructure impacts all at the same time, and then rinse and repeat very quickly
Mhm.
is something that, as a practitioner, really kind of having to run alongside that, and figure out one where it makes sense to really kind of share that information, or two, on the other side, be able to kind of advise a space where it's just like, hey, we're not quite ready. It's really putting my practitioner uh, chops to use. So
Yeah. Very interesting. What about you, Kate? Have you seen anything that works well in this environment?
Y Yeah, I think so what I've seen and, I've experienced firsthand that really works is giving people space and time to play with it and experiment, like low pressure environments of just go try, get weird with this, and because most people aren't going to learn how to use a certain agent or tool from a training deck. It's going to be by messing around with it and how it to work and incorporate it in their flow of work. So, I've even done things like, hey, hey team, book a room on a Friday afternoon. Hey team, I'm going to be in here from 2 to 3. Just building these agents, like come join me and let's solve this together. The second thing is really making it a part of the everyday conversation.
yeah,
So, sometimes, and I'm sure you guys can relate, is like you're moving so fast. There's so much to get done and so much to talk about, but creating the space to just talk about it. So, did anyone try AI this week? What worked? What didn't work? Even, talking about what's not working is really important. I think, I'll be the first to admit is I can build some pretty awesome stuff, but not all of it is as easy to build as people make it out to see.
Yeah.
I've definitely, been, had some roadblocks at 1, 2 in the morning trying to figure something out that's not just, prompting my way through it.
Yeah.
Um, and then the third thing is I think leaders really, we always talk about in the change landscape as enabling leaders and how critical leaders are, but it's like they're really critical for AI, not just like really walking the talk, and telling people how their teams how they're using it. And I think that takes a level of vulnerability that for the first times, leaders, they aren't getting the 2 or 3 week heads up to cascade as they're learning alongside their teams in real time. And so that's also just a different leadership muscle than a lot are used to. And I think also that's really where trust starts to show up. Okay, my leader's telling me to use it and they're using it. So those are just, a few examples of really what I've seen move the needle.